Just Bugging.
Hey guys, this is G-Man with Just Bugging. Right here is the 1959 orange Dune Buggy motor that was just delivered from Mike Newman at Bug Yoda. He's our builder, and the motor is all done up sweet. I mean, nice. Got the scat stainless steel valve covers on it and the stainless steel pushrod tubes, premium pulley with all your timing marks on it. It's gonna be a nice motor. So what I'm doing here is trimming. You know, it's common that you have fitting issues with these aftermarket Chinese tins, what we call them. And to do some trimming right next there to get it away from the exhaust port. So I got that one done. I have to do all this to make sure everything fits so that I can paint it and I won't have a problem and have to tweak something after. So this one's looking good too. It's gonna get pulled back. I'm gonna go ahead and install the rest of the tins and make sure I don't see any problems. So I've got all of his stuff laid out. It's going to be a real sweet motor. The orange tins, I've already painted them and stored them away with some bubble wrap. Got my new old cooler because, you know, his was originally a single port.
Yeah, later in the video you'll find out that oil cooler didn't cut it.
Now it's a dual port, and I've decided to paint the some of the tins and an alternator cradle and a few other parts a single stage flat black matte, should I say, and it's going to look good with the orange squirrel tin and then black in the center, and then the brand new alternator and a black matte hold down strap, and then the tower will be black with a chrome breather neck and the oil fill tube. So this is really going to be a sharp looking motor. And then I'll sandblast the original exhaust and put some nice heat, high temp semi-gloss or low gloss paint on the exhaust. And then we'll be starting this on the engine stand and doing the break-in period, and then probably flushing the oil and filling it again. So, all right guys, this is where I've left off. It is really coming together nice. Check this out. It's the black super tins, and the bottom orange ones are gonna come across here. Of course, you don't need the back one because it's a Dune Buggy, but this wasn't on the last one, and I really need it to secure the tins. So got to looking at this, and I didn't like the chrome. This was chrome, and you know, it'll rust up. So I had some really nice matte single stage paint, and we could wait till after we, you know, do all the adjustments and tune the motor, and then I'll put this back on here. But it fits fine. It's gonna look killer. And of course, when the squirrel cage gets on there, I decided to make that matte too. So, you know, it's kind of like the orange and black thing going here.
Hey man, I want everything on outside.
I mean, it's just gonna be badass. This is a beautiful motor. Well, as you can see, you'll have your light for your motor. All our builds come out with this. So then if you're at the back of the motor and you want to checking it out or whatever, you always know what the oil pressure is. And if you want to know what the actual oil pressure is, you just could look at the back of the motor, you know, while it's idling. So that's a really great little feature there. So as you can see, I've installed the 2-barrel 38 carb setup, and it's the first time I've ever installed one. Kind of tricky. You pay hell getting that nut for this bracket because it's behind there. Then you realize this has to be off. Then you got to get that nut on. Yes, it's a doozy, but it's not too bad. And then you go ahead and do your fuel lines before you tighten this down, because you can get to it easier. And then you got to pull this back down because you can see it might actually need to go down a little bit more because it's kind of tilted. So it rests right on those fuel lines, but it'll be fine. Real nice looking. So the fan assembly will be next. Well, it's a sweet one. I've already decided the other one that goes on the trike is going to be a glossy black like this with the flat black on it. And then I think I'm gonna flip it up a little bit on mine also. If you haven't heard, I found a brand new casing for my 72 Super Beetle. Opened it up to inspect what someone else did, and then it was more of a Band-Aid rebuild. A lot of good parts inside of it, but the casing really was shot, and one head was bad. So, you know, I had to tap a Healy coil or insert in it or whatever, and then the seats were messed up on it, and the other one's salvageable. So I ended up getting my hands on a Brazilian brand new case, never been used, never fired up, for only 500 bucks. So I'm real happy with that. So it's going to be another new rebuild, not as fancy and high performance as these, but it's going to be a nice motor for Ollie. What we got here is just special exhaust that's custom made for the 1959 Dune Buggy over there. The last thing I got to get onto the motor, except for the fact that those 36 horsepower dog tins that don't have the deheater ducts on them, they don't come with the threaded holes for the coil to be mounted to the squirrel cage, and I didn't see that or notice it until now. So, and I don't have the kit to put the little certs in, so I'm gonna have to deal with that because I need that. So start the motor. It's got to be mounted close to the distributor. So got the coil mounted, and the lower tins are on now. I'm about to put the exhaust on it. This original exhaust is really nice shape. I sandblasted it and painted it with a high temp, low gloss paint, so should look nice for a while. When we get it on there, it came with no tips on it. I want to see what it looks like when it's on there, and then pick out some tips and get them later when, you know, he can go out and drive the thing and enjoy it. But I mean, with this stay-at-home order, maybe not, but maybe he'll wait until I get some tips on it. I got a couple of tins to put on the back of it. Of course, I can't get this one on here until it's off of the stand, but it'll be coming off this stand soon and going on that one, and for its break-in period, then it's be ready to go. So I'm gonna get to putting this exhaust on. Boy, that went on nicely. My new heat riser there. I plugged that hole up. It had a major exhaust leak last time. There was nothing in that. No pipe thread or plug or nothing. And this really made it up well right there. I mean, normally they're like cockeyed on these Chinese mufflers, but somebody did a really nice job of making this. I've never seen it, so it's probably had to be custom made for this particular Dune Buggy, the way the body is. So. Yep, now I got this one to get to. It's sweet, and you see my little support bracket came off right here. Really nice. Yeah, just need some nice tips, like I said. But oh, that looks gorgeous with that matte black up here. And you got the Dune Buggy tins under here. So that's sweet.
So good and tasty.
Need to get a new cage. This one just doesn't fit with this big billet aluminum pulley, so we're gonna get something, a belt guard over it, but right now it's fine. We'll do that and the tips. We'll order that at the same time. And you like the oil pressure gauge? It's nice to know exactly what your oil pressure is. And yes, I'm going to paint the dipstick, if anybody's wondering. It stands out, and that's a brand new case, so don't want to put paint on that. This is gonna be our initial start, and then we had the break-in period of approximately an hour to break in the cam properly. Our first experience with the 38. It's pumping now? Squirting? All right.
All right, man.
It's time for Bush. Fire in the hole. Whoa. That'll wake you up.
Whoa, 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 this is backwards.
Huh?
This is one?
Yeah, that's one.
All right.
We were out of order.
Ever had one of those days when nothing goes right?
Oh,
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
what the hell?
Came straight from here.
Come from where?
Believe it or not, this is a brand new oil cooler that I just got from Amazon, I don't know, about a week or two ago. And it blew out right up inside here. And you can see there was no damage to it or anything. There's no marks on it or anything. So that's what happened. Once we cranked it up, the oil just shot out of there and came out onto the floor. So we had to take it all back apart and get down there, and I had another oil cooler for Ricky's. I'm gonna have to order another one from Amazon and put in for a refund, and we'll get Ricky's here and replace it. We just wanna keep things moving forward. So I was just getting on his, so I'll order one today, and I've got to fit his tins, so I've got time, and then I got to paint his tins, so no big deal. That's not going to hold anything up, and we can move forward. It happens. That was a little unexpected and made a mess. We're gonna have a little bit of burn off here, I'm sure. Fire in the hole. The idle screw. We're just at base setting too on this. So that's 65 psi oil pressure at what, 1700 RPM or so.
It's 2,000 or better.
Yeah. That's what it says there. It says 2,000. Alright guys, we're in the break-in period right now. We're about 30 minutes into it. We're going to run it for about an hour. Got it set, the timing set, and then we still need to tune in the carburetor. Running on the base settings right now. But yeah, I really like how it loads. It's got that nice big cam in it. It's going to be sweet. And it's about a 1,300 pound vehicle with a big motor in it like that. A whole butt. All right, we'll let you know when we get to the tuning. She's just purring along. It's really gotten smoother and smoother. All the valves are seating properly, and it's not even tuned in yet. So this is just the break-in. We got about 15 more minutes on it, and then the tuning process will begin. And tomorrow, Kyle and I are gonna slap this bad boy into that, say, 1,300 pound Dune Buggy. Alright guys, we're about at the end of the break-in period. Then we're going to let it cool down a little bit. And then we're going to do the tune-up. We'll tune the carburetor in. But it's pretty close now, but that's at the base settings, 1.5 turns out each. Which, that's the first time I've seen a carburetor really run that well at the base settings. Doesn't need quite much. It's still at 40 psi on the oil pressure. Good at idle, so really nice, great motor. I mean, it's a brand new case on this, so basically everything on this motor is brand new. The only thing off of his motor is the cradle support for the alternator. That's it. Everything else is new, and the exhaust is the same exhaust that came off of it. So he really went the distance on this one, and he's going to be glad he did. I'm sure this will last a long time. Just needs to run about 1,000 hours and bring it in, and we'll drop the oil and give it a valve adjustment, which is going to require the exhaust to be taken back off. So a little bit more of a job than one sitting in a car. So.
They put this carburetor on Jeep, everything. There's a Jeep kit for it if you look in the catalog.
Yeah.
There's a Jeep kit for a Jeep.
Yeah, I had an Offenhauser intake on my Jeep that accommodated a 4-barrel.
I got an Offenhauser intake for a Vega that accompanies a 4-barrel.
Yeah.
A Vega.
I love the old Vegas. The one, what was that, the 75 with the big grill? Check that out. Oh, that motor is sweet. Yeah, the orange is slightly different, but that's what he chose, and it's going to stand out a little bit more. So he said orange is orange, so, but it's going to look nice. It's going to definitely draw your attention to it. We're about to put it in. Just gluing the seal to this cover that goes on here. So I get a new throwout bearing, new clutch. Basically every damn thing is brand new on this. So we're going to get this installed, wash up the car, and take it for a spin. All right, guys, we're ready. Had to get me a metal fuel line instead of a rubber hose going through there. Get it all cleaned up. I got my tins on the back with my seals. So we are ready to go. You grab your side. Hey guys, so we got it up into the Dune Buggy. It's running good, but we're fine tuning the carburetor, trying to get it just right. So a little bit more tuning on it, but sounds good, looks good. All right guys, back on the Dune Buggy. I'm gonna get back to trying to get that shifting just right. Maybe a little bit in the clutch adjustment, but I think it's more in the stick. Now I can get first, but I think it just needs a little bit more throw. And you know, there's that slight adjustment in that. So I'm gonna take care of that today. And then got no tag, our tag light. And I presume this wiring right in the middle is for that. So it's not a lot of area here to do it. I don't want it on the side. I'm gonna put it in the center here, but I also have to kind of keep it compact. So I found a piece of metal right here. I'm not done cutting it, but it's gonna be kind of like this. I'm gonna cut all that off and then straighten it out and cut these tips off. And then I'm going to set up this dome light and go right at the edge and screw it on right there. And that will be our tag light. It'll look nice when I get done with it, paint black. So it won't take up any more space than the tag itself. So that's what I'm doing right now. All right guys, that's how it turned out.
I don't even remember what the scene was. Oh yeah. About time he put a damn tag plate cover on it.
That's how it turned out. Tag light, nice little Allen screws with some plastic washers. And everything's black and it's not touching here, and wiring goes back there and it works. And I had just enough room, the tag ends below this, so there was just enough room, like 6 1/4 inches, and the tag's 6 inches high, so perfect spot. I'm really happy with that. And you can't see the bracket or nothing. I didn't have much room for anything else. So happy with that. The Just Bugging way. And it turned the lights on, and now you got a tag light. We'll just see how bright it is tonight. It's a 194 incandescent bulb in there, so. Hey guys, as you can see, I'm back on the Dune Buggy and I have pulled the motor out. We were trying to tune it in, and then we started having a hard time for it idling. Now I realize this is our first experience with this system, the 38mm carburetor. So we were thinking it was the jets. And after more troubleshooting, we found out that we had an intake leak on this side. Now, as you'll see on the instructions, I've underlined that it says it may be necessary to trim the left side because it's longer. Well, when I was doing the 70 Beetle motor that you see, the metallic blue one, it was very noticeable. The intake was way out here. So I had to trim off like an inch. And this one appeared to be fine, as you can see. Well, I've got these loosened, and you can see I'm starting to take everything off so I can get to these. See, this one wiggles. This one's binding. It actually says it may be necessary.
Say what?
up to a 1/4 inch or so, you know. Well, it didn't appear to be so. My intake leak is the intake on the left side is not mating, you know, completely with the upper surface. So the bottom is stabbing the head first. So the intake leak wasn't noticeable at first until it got warmed up and everything. And that was later after I put it in the car. Then it started to, you know, not run at an idle, and it wasn't before. So it apparently opened up there. And we put an RPM gauge on it, and I sprayed some brake cleaner over here so it wasn't, you know, too damaging for the paint, and put it on the top. And we saw, you know, since that's not very flammable as much as like carburetor cleaner or something, it took a little while to notice it. So we had the RPM gauge on it too. So not only were we listening for the RPMs to raise as I sprayed it on there, he could see it, you know, on the RPM gauge. So we confirmed that that was.
Damn, that's a big.
Oh, damn. We confirmed that that was the case, so I'm taking it back apart. It is what it is, you know, live and learn. There's no big deal with that. So I'm gonna take it back off, trim a little off of this, put some new intake manifold gaskets on it, and slap this bad boy back together. And then, of course, gotta slap it back into the car. Oh well, you know, as long as it's correct, you know, as long as the customer doesn't have a problem, you know, I'll do what I gotta do. So live and learn, like I said. All right, well, I'm gonna continue to disassemble it and get to that left side of that intake so I can trim it off of the motor, of course. All right, stay tuned. As you can see, I got it taken down, and now I really took a flashlight and looked down in here and made sure that it is sitting on there correctly. And believe it or not, all this trouble for that amount to be trimmed off the left side. It's that way in case the motor is a long stroke. You know, I've mostly done stock, and this is my first experience with a lot of these high performance parts on them, other than, you know, 34 Pick 3 was my carburetor choice, but I was dealing with a stock, you know, 1641 motor. So it is what it is. As long as it's correct, I don't mind. But there is some bit bolts because of the bracket that goes on here to secure that. It's really hard to get to that, and you can't get to this one without removing the fuel pump, and this is a pain. But yeah, there's a lot of little tricky bolts. That one's the hardest one to get. But now it's time to tighten it down and put it back together. And you know, we've ran into some problems along the way, like the oil cooler failing, but it is what it is, as long as the end results is what you're shooting for. So all right, guys, lesson learned. This is a good thing to check. I've got these already tightened down, and now I should have done this. I do recall it kind of stiff because I was pulling it back this way. I should have noticed it, but like I said, it's the first time. It's my first experience with this setup, and you know, I expected some, you know, issues, but not this one. But it is what it is, and we'll be using a lot of them. I already got 3 more motors to put together that are all getting this. Now I think one of them's getting the 3236. So, but this one is, I do like the carburetor setup and everything. Just lesson learned. I can't stress it enough. But, and see, it doesn't have any side-to-side movement, but there's no bonding. So these are planted down, and of course I really did look at it real well this time around. All right, guys, I got it all back together. Running fine so far, but I'm gonna let it cool down. I'm just gonna crank it up real quick for you. It's a little warm. All right. Well, we're gonna get to adjusting it. I don't think I have a problem. It's a lesson learned. Just goes to show that even a seasoned mechanic, not saying I'm the best of it, what I do, I mean, but I'm damn good at it. And you just gotta understand that you're gonna run into problems, and you're gonna always be willing to learn something new, because you're going to be schooled eventually, some way, shape, or form. Hey guys, so I just wanted to tell you, if you fail to take off a 1/4 inch on the left side of the intake manifold, you're going to get this. And I learned, you know, trial and error. Now I know I won't make that mistake, but I still love this system, the 35mm carburetor kit from Mecum. I do like it, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. So see, this spot is flattened, and I can feel the ridge here. So it felt to me that it was tightened down, but it didn't sit flush because this didn't allow the inside of the manifold to go down. So watch out for that. Keep that in mind. I learned, and I won't let it happen again. I'll guarantee you that. I guarantee.
I guarantee it.
Hey guys, we finally made it through that. It's amazing how a 1/4 inch can screw your day up. Yes, and I got that accelerator cable right now. I think I could take another 1/2 inch out of the clutch plate. Sweet. Now I feel safe with that accelerator cable. Wow. I don't know what's better, the Starburst in my mouth or the Dune Buggy. Really, it's the Dune Buggy. Oh, this is great. It runs great now. It's been a long day, but like I said, I still want to get that clutch just a little bit more. But I'm really feeling much better about that accelerator cable. It was dragging. It's great, man. You can bleep that.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I like it.
Thank you. That's all I do now, just bugging. Working on bugs, trying to, you know, stay safe.
You too, man.
Have a nice evening. Sounds great, man. My camera on?
Yeah.
Successful story. Another just bugging adventure here. Stay tuned for more. There will be some more repairs to this, but you know, like improvements. New stainless steel roll bar in the back. There needs to be some improvements to the welding underneath.
For framework.
Yeah, so it will be back. And there are some other issues to reinforce the floors, so expect to see this one back, but for just, you know, improvements.
Hey guys, it's Dalton. Thanks for watching this video. Sorry it was a long video, but of course I had to show all the processes. If you guys liked the video, leave a like down below, a comment, subscribe. Have a just bugging of a day, and stay safe out there.